Hey everybody, what's up? I'm so excited to be live. It's been forever since I've been live. So if you see this video for the first time, if you're seeing me for the first time, my name is LA. My microphone is way on the ground. I don't know why it's so far down. Let's move the mic. Okay. If this is your first time being here, my name is LA. I like to talk about hot topics, trending topics, relationship issues, Black American issues, diaspora issues, whatever the topic is. I just love to engage with you all and just discuss whatever is on our mind, but mainly how it can relate back to our real lives. So in my last video, I talked about Jackie Christie and her daughter Chantal from Basketball Wives LA, and I was really able to dive into mother-daughter relationships in the Black community, and I really wanted people to be able to discuss their mother-daughter issues or see how they can repair. I did give some tips at the end of the video on how you can repair your relationship with your mother or your daughter. And I think it's really important that we as a community stop trying to be so prideful. I often talk to people about, I do some personal coaching, and I talk to people a lot about removing ego, removing pride from relationships that you're invested in with people you love. I think sometimes just having the ability to say sorry, even if you are not at fault, having the ability to say sorry can really, really change things in your life. And I think a lot of people miss that opportunity because they have so much pride or they have so much ego involved. And a lot of times, we're machismo and we like to say, I'm done. I'm not doing this. You're wrong. That's it. But I think you can save relationships, especially with your family. You know, as we're all aging, I think it's easier to give grace. So I think that's important. I'm glad I hope you were able to watch the last video. Hi in the chat. Make sure you just drop a comment, say hello. I am going to discuss a few things today. Number one, Malcolm Jamal Warner has passed away. That is so, so sad. I am so sorry to hear that. When I heard the news, I thought he was, okay, I'm not going to say who I thought he was, but I did think that he was the other guy from Family Matters. So yeah, that was embarrassing, but I know now who Malcolm Jamal Warner is. Let me just go to some of my saved posts. I also wanted to talk about, geez Louise. I think we need to talk about Simon Gobadia. But I did make a mention to someone that I knew. I was like, do you know how to swim? And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, you should learn how to swim. But we did learn that Malcolm Jamal Warner does know how to swim, but unfortunately, the tides and undercurrent that he faced in the ocean were what prevented him from getting back to shore safely. I want to talk about Simon Gobadia because, my goodness, he's back in the news. He's doing interviews again with Michelle A.T. Alien. And in the interview, Simon talked about whether or not Portia Williams and Shamia and Portia's mother may have all targeted him in the marriage and then subsequent divorce that was about 2 years later, where she walked away with a bunch of alimony. I think her alimony payment was $40,000 a month. And he also, let's see. All right, there we go. So Simon was talking about Portia divorcing him. She got a bunch of alimony. He thinks he was a target. But again, Simon had a bunch of legal issues, and people say, the scammer got scammed. Hi, thank you for saying hi. Thank you. I'm so excited to see you. And Oh, you know what I did not do? I did not share my live video. Okay, so we talked about Malcolm Jamal Warner. Unfortunately, he passed. And I will pull up Malcolm Jamal Warner on the screen so you guys can see who I'm talking about. Let's go back to the neighborhood talk. It's such an unfortunate event. He was such a nice man who was very artistic. And we also can talk about DJT, our president, and these files that are not being released from that guy. Jeez Louise, we need to talk about Glorilla. Candace Owens, my goodness, look at all this. So much has happened recently. But let me pull this off the screen really quick and just get to the Malcolm Jamal Warner post. Here we go. So if you guys don't remember, this is Malcolm Jamal Warner from The Cosby Show, Theo from The Cosby Show, with Theo Huxtable from The Cosby Show. He had his 8-year-old daughter. They were on a family vacation, which is even more tragic. They were on a family vacation. Theo unfortunately drowned. It looks like his 8-year-old was with him and she survived. So they're saying new details have been released after Malcolm Jamal Warner tragically drowned in Costa Rica. Police say Warner was swimming with his 8-year-old when they both got caught in a rip current. Surfers nearby saw them struggling and rushed in. One surfer used his board to save Warner's daughter, while a volunteer lifeguard brought Warner and another surfer to shore. This is just devastating news, guys. I hate to hear this. It's very exhausting. It's very exhausting. And I was watching the Joe Budden podcast recently, and I'm going to tell you guys something that was very important to me because I have these same thoughts. Joe said, it might have been Joe or Ish, but they said, like, at this age, this is the age that you think about death. Like in our 40s, Joe, I believe, is 45. And Ish is probably the same age. I'm 42. And it's so interesting because I think about heart attacks, strokes, pulmonary embolisms, blood clots in your legs when you fly and travel. I think about diabetes and high blood pressure like more than ever at this age. And you would think this age is young, but you see so many social media posts about 40-somethings passing away now. And it's very scary. Truly, very scary. So let's continue. I want to talk about next Glorilla. This is so strange. Glorilla had an incident at her home. Now, y'all know who Glorilla the rapper is. So let me pull this back up to the stage. Yes, the Glorilla the rapper was arrested. She reported a home invasion or an attempted break-in. It says, according to jail records retrieved by TMZ, Glow was arrested Tuesday in Forsyth County on 2 felony drug charges. Possession of a controlled substance and another for having more than an ounce of marijuana. Not many details are available yet, but what we do know is that this was booked and then bonded out the same day after dropping $22,000. So apparently the details are that what happened was Glorilla called to have her Glorilla lawyer claims that her home was burglarized while she was out of town, but police decided to charge her for the substances found in her closet instead of searching for the thieves. They say she's a victim, not a suspect. Isn't that interesting? So you see how police work is, right? So now you better be careful. If you have a crime at your house, you maybe need to clean up your house before you call the police, because maybe they might not be interested in the crime. They may be more interested in you. And again, like many people have already said, the entire system is corrupt. I won't go into the politics of that. Red line, blue line, white line, black line. I won't get into the politics, but we know the entire system is corrupt. And what happened to Glorilla is very unfortunate. No suspects have been arrested in her home burglary. But of course, she was booked and arrested and gave up $22,000 in her bond. So, yeah, there's some more tea, child, that I saw recently. We need to talk about Shannon Sharpe. Let me see if I can find the Shannon Sharpe tea really quick, because I'm going to come back on later and talk about Olandria and Shelly. My love for Olandria, Shelly, and Clark. Absolute obsession with the entire cast of Love Island on season 7, Love Island US season 7. Phenomenal job of picking that cast of Black Americans. I believe Shelly may be Haitian American, but that cast, amazing. I have never been more excited. Last season, season 6 was amazing because of course we had Janae and Serena and Cordell. I thought that casting was perfect as well. But you know what? It's almost similar because we had Olandria, Shelly, and Ace. Yeah, so that cast was incredible. I wanted to show pictures of this Shannon Sharpe OF model that was suing him for SA. And the funny thing is, after the announcing of her settlement by Tony Busby was we first got news that Shannon Sharpe's lawsuit, the woman that brought the lawsuit, the courts dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice, meaning he could not be sued again by the same person for the same incident. So Tony Busby released that this woman, here we go. Let's get this up. Tony Busby was kind enough to tell us that this woman in her case was dismissed with prejudice. She was able to retire and announce her retirement from OF. I guess the settlement was enough that she could live comfortably. And let me tell you what she said that I extracted from her public statement on her Instagram. I'll make this bigger so you can see it as well. So she and Shannon Sharpe were able to come up with a resolution to the $50 million lawsuit, and it will be dismissed. She's a 21-year-old OF model. She's 21 now. I'm sorry. She's 21 now, and she was 19 when they began some type of relationship. I call it inappropriate because morally it's disgusting. Whatever everybody else has a feeling about this, you say what you feel. But I call it disgusting relationship that Shannon had with this young girl, this child, and she was able to retire. Now I'm looking for the post that she made about her retirement, because there was something very interesting in that about the never ending. Let me pull myself up big. The never ending conversation about Black men dating outside of their race. We don't care, right? The problem is we all know why you're doing it, including the other women that you date. They usually know why you're doing it. Usually they're in on it, but I've seen some TikTokers who say, if that's who you are as a person, Black man, we're not interested. If you bash Black women and you think you're going to come date us, we're not interested. So we understand that. I think the issue is that this OF model was so funny in her retirement post. And she says, the support No, I would have never been able to retire without the support of this community. The Black community. This 20-year-old OF model said, I would never be able to retire without the support of this community. And assuming she meant her community of followers and family and friends. But if you look at the language used, I got Black community from that. I really did get Black. Oh, wait, here it is. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read this statement to you because I thought it was so good. She says, today I have decided to retire from OF. Thank you for the incredible support you've shown me over the past few years. This community, you niggas, has given me a life I could never imagine. You niggas have given me a life I could never imagine. I'll still be active on social media and have several new projects in the works that I can't wait to share. Yeah, I'm sure. Netflix wants your story. Zeus wants your story. TMZ wants to do a doc about your story. I am sure there are a bunch of producers and directors who want your story. I'm truly excited for this next chapter. I love you all forever and ever. Thanks to you coon ass niggas. But, I know what community she meant, but I know the community that paid her was you niggas. And you should be ashamed of yourselves. And this is what we talk about. This is what we talk about. You don't let your money circulate through any Black hands. You don't. But yet you will call a Black woman a gold digger. But this woman was able to retire off you. Okay? Your daughter, I remember when you said your daughter, the Black daughter that you have, had a $30,000 budget for her wedding. But this 20-year-old OF model got a $30 million payout from you. This is the issue. Do you understand now? It has nothing to do with Black women not wanting you to date who you want to date. I think dating a 19-year-old at 59 is disgusting and predatory and should be illegal, even if it's not. Anybody defending that is ludicrous. Anybody who says it's legal is borderline, should be on a list called borderline. Because if you can say an 18-year-old is legal and you're 50, yeah. So the only thing that prevents you from touching children is the law, a piece of paper, a handwritten piece of paper. That's scary. You're scary. I digress. Let's continue. What else are we going to talk about today? But Shannon Sharp, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should absolutely be ashamed of yourself. I wanted to talk about our girl. Now, I don't know if y'all like her. I sometimes like her. Candace Owens is being sued by Emmanuel Macron. Yes, the president of France is suing Candace Owens for defamation of character because she, on her show, her podcast, has repeatedly called President Macron's wife, Brigitte, a man, a transgendered woman. So born a man and then presenting as the female wife of the president. Apparently for over a year, this couple has been sending Candace Owens a cease and desist to stop discussing Brigitte's gender in their marriage. So finally, Candace Owens is suing, but guess what Candace Owens did? She said, oh, okay, I have something more to say. And she hasn't stopped. Candace Owens said, okay, now that you've sued me, you're officially a goofy ass man. Not just a regular man. Or I'm sorry, not just a trans woman, but now you're a goofy ass man. Listen, Candace Owens is on the red side of the tape, right? Candace Owens is, you know how they call like this DJT, the president's social media, Truth Social? I think a lot of times this lawsuit, she probably welcomes it because then Brigitte would have to maybe prove that she's lying. And a lot of times when you go on a smear campaign, that person having to disprove what you're saying in an attempt to win their case against you, you might think that would be all that you need, and they may back down. Because I know Candace Owens has the coin to fight it, especially if France is no longer able to siphon and steal money from Burkina Faso. How will he ever fund a lawsuit? Exactly. That's the real tea. So Candace, I'm proud of you. I don't like that it feels transphobic, like some other content creators have said. It does feel transphobic, but anybody taking down Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte, who have pillaged and decimated the African continent, yeah, keep going, girl. We clocking it. I like that for you. Anyway, okay, so we did Shannon Sharp. We did Candace Owens and Emmanuel Macron. We did the OF model's retirement. We did Glorilla and her unfortunate arrest, which I think is crazy. We talked about Malcolm Jamal Warner. We talked about Simon Guobadia and his wife Portia. But I think to round things off, I would love to talk about Portia and Shamia because, my goodness, Shamia had a bunch of things to say, calling Portia a liar through much of the second of 3 in total Real Housewives of Atlanta reunions. So Portia, after the airing of the episode, Portia really dropped a lot of tea because Shamia said she only had one wedding. Portia refused to attend the wedding because of whatever issue. Then Portia dropped a video Shamia posted, I believe in 2017, that said my first wedding with her and Portia in the video. She said my first wedding, my dowry ceremony, and she still doubles down and keeps saying that it's not a wedding. You put wedding in the caption. This is your caption. You put wedding. So in her attempt to still look innocent, she commented on Portia's post and said, keep your fake friendship, keep your fake receipts. And Shamia is just going down in flames. And my thing about Shamia, and I said this online and I'm going to say it here, Shamia has a very distinguished Kenyan husband who is extremely successful. Having a distinguished, attractive provider who is a successful businessman, a millionaire, and you want to be a city girl on TV, we don't call women losers enough. Shamia is a loser. We don't use the term loser for women enough. And Shamia is a bona fide loser. This is a woman who said her beautiful husband does not want to be on this show. She's fought him for years to be a peach holder on the show. We've seen what these shows have done to every marriage. Every marriage has been ruined on the show. Divorces galore. I think probably 80% of the housewives are single. And Shamia begged for this man to be on the show with her. And guess what? She's going to reap what she sows. I would have never brought my husband on this show. It only exposed how much of a lowlife I am, how I'm not interested in my child, but I'd rather be partying in Miami, My husband is attractive, young, and a millionaire. And I've exposed him to the world, and I've exposed how much of a loser I am and not his match. Do you understand how many women are probably eager to get this man on their arm? I agree with this sentiment here. And Portia breaks down the issues she's had with Shamia since season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. During, Shamia came on the show with a plan to sabotage her. I agree 100%. But what Shamia did was she risked it all with her husband to be a city girl. Shamia wants the life of a Jada Waiter. Shamia wants to look like an it girl around Atlanta. Shamia wants the life of a young Miami Jada Waiter, Ari. She wants to be a rapper baby mama instead of a wife to a distinguished Kenyan businessman. This is what you get when you expose yourself on TV, and everybody has clocked your tea. Shamia, you look ridiculously stupid. And that is the end of today's broadcast. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with me. If you're on the replay, just hit the like button, put replay in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll be back this weekend, and I'll be back with a longer video again about Olandria, Shelly, how the internet treated them, and how I absolutely adored them, and their Keke Palmer interview. We'll talk about it tonight. Love you all. Be sure to like the video. Bye.